What if the worst person you'll ever encounter isn't a stranger at all, but someone who has already seen you, studied you, maybe even waited for the right moment to get closer? I've spent a lot of time diving into true horror stories, and the ones that disturb me the most aren't about the supernatural. They're the ones that feel possible, the kind where nothing is obviously wrong at first, just small details that don't sit right. And the terrifying part is, those details are usually there long before anything actually happens. Hey, you're listening to Midnight Horror Files. Tonight, I want to go through a few stories with you, not just to tell you what happened, but to really think about them. Because in each one, there was a moment where things could have gone differently if someone had ignored that feeling. If you're into real stories that stay with you long after they end, consider subscribing. What if the worst person you'll ever encounter isn't a stranger at all, but someone who has already seen you, studied you, maybe even waited for the right moment to get closer? I've spent a lot of time diving into true horror stories, and the ones that disturb me the most aren't about the supernatural. They're the ones that feel possible, the kind where nothing is obviously wrong at first, just small details that don't sit right. And the terrifying part is, those details are usually there long before anything actually happens. Hey, you're listening to Midnight Horror Files. Tonight, I want to go through a few stories with you, not just to tell you what happened, but to really think about them. Because in each one, there was a moment where things could have gone differently if someone had ignored that feeling. If you're into real stories that stay with you long after they end, consider subscribing. And the first story is exactly the kind that makes you question how safe really is. This one starts in a place that should have been completely harmless, a kid's own backyard. He grew up watching his older brother prepare for Boy Scout camping trips, setting up tents, packing gear, getting ready for weekends out in the wilderness. And if you've ever been that younger sibling, you know the feeling. You're not part of it, but you want to be. You watch from the sidelines, imagining what it must feel like to be included. Their parents even leaned into it. They lit the fire pit, helped them get everything ready. So one night, he and his brother decided to recreate that experience themselves. Just a simple idea: set up a tent in the backyard, sleep out there, make it feel like a real campout. It was one of those moments that feels almost too normal to ever turn into something bad. But that's the part that always gets me about stories like this. The setting is safe, the people are familiar. And that's exactly why no one is looking for anything wrong. Later that night, after everything settled down, it was just the two of them in the tent. The younger brother had been taken inside. The world outside got quiet, and inside the tent, it was just two kids trying to fall asleep. Except he couldn't. He would later describe it as that restless kind of tired, where your body wants to sleep, but your mind won't shut off. And I don't think that's just coincidence. Sometimes your body picks up on things before you consciously understand them. At some point, he wakes up again. It's dark, disorienting. And the first thing he notices is that his brother is gone. His sleeping bag is empty. Now there are logical explanations. Maybe he went inside. Maybe he gave up on the whole idea. But when you're a kid alone in the dark, logic doesn't always win. He decides to check outside. And I want you to really picture this moment, because it's small, but it matters. He doesn't just run out. He peeks, just barely opens the tent enough to look. And sitting by the fire pit is a man. Not moving, not calling out, just sitting there facing the tent. That detail sticks with me, because it means the man wasn't surprised. He wasn't wandering. He was already there, already looking in that direction. Waiting, maybe. The kid panics, zips the tent back up, crawls into his sleeping bag like it's some kind of shield. And this is where fear does something strange. It convinces you that staying still might make you invisible. So he doesn't move. He barely breathes. He just listens. Then he hears it, the subtle shift of weight, a chair scraping slightly. And then, through the thin fabric of the tent, a shadow. The man has moved closer. At this point, there's no confusion anymore. No, maybe it's nothing. Something is very wrong. And then comes the moment that honestly makes this one of the most disturbing scenarios I can imagine. The zipper on the tent starts to move, slowly, carefully, not rushed, not forced. Whoever this is, they're being deliberate. The opening is small, just a few inches, but near the bottom of the tent, there's a tiny gap where the zipper doesn't fully close. And through that gap, there's an eye, watching him, not searching, not scanning, locked directly onto him, like it knew exactly where to look. And I always think about that detail, because it suggests something even worse. This wasn't just someone randomly checking inside a tent. That eye went straight to him. For a few seconds, he can't even react. His body just shuts down. And then finally, he screams. Everything explodes after that. He scrambles backward, the tent shakes, and outside, footsteps take off running. His father bursts out of the house. Lights come on. The moment is over as quickly as it began. But what lingers isn't just the fear of what almost happened. It's the realization that someone was close enough, bold enough, and patient enough to get that far. And if the story ended there, it would already be enough to leave a mark. But it doesn't. Weeks later at school during recess, he's standing near a fence with other kids when a man on the other side calls out to him. Casual, friendly, asking for directions. Nothing unusual until he says his name. And that's the moment everything shifts. Because now it's not a random encounter anymore. It's not just a man in the dark. It's someone who has seen him before. Someone who remembers him. And I can't help but think, how long had he been watching before that night in the backyard? And if that first story leaves you wondering how close danger can get without being noticed, the next one shows how easily you can be led straight into it. This one starts in a way that feels almost routine. A guy moving into a new place, scrolling through online listings, trying to furnish his home without spending a fortune. He finds a post, multiple items, decent prices, nothing flashy, just enough to catch his attention. A couch that looks barely used. A bike that seems like a good deal. And here's the part that gets me. There's nothing suspicious about wanting a good deal. In fact, that's exactly what makes this kind of situation so effective. It doesn't trigger your defenses. It feels normal. The seller responds quickly. Short messages, straight to the point. No small talk, no weird behavior. They agree on a price, set a time, and that's it. From the outside, it's just another transaction. The house is along the coast, remote, but not isolated enough to raise alarm. Big property, expensive looking, the kind of place that makes you think you're dealing with someone who doesn't need to scam anyone. But then there's a small shift. A note on the front door, doorbell broken, use the back. And I always pause on moments like this, because it's subtle, but it's control. You're being guided step by step without questioning it. He walks around the house, windows are covered, no movement inside. He knocks, waits, nothing. At this point, most people would leave, but he doesn't. He waits a little longer, checks his phone, still no response. So he sits down, facing the ocean, trying to be patient. And then, when he turns back toward the house, everything changes. Every single window is now uncovered. And behind each one, there is a person, standing still, not shifting, not reacting, just staring, smiling. And I can't get past that image, because it's not chaotic, it's not messy, it's controlled, almost rehearsed, like everyone knows exactly where to stand. That's not random behavior, that's coordination. He doesn't stick around to figure it out. He leaves. And as he's pulling away, there's someone standing at the front door now, watching him go. Later, he finds out the real owner isn't even home. The listing disappears. The account vanishes. So now you're left with something far worse than a strange encounter. You're left wondering why they wanted him there in the first place, and what would have happened if he hadn't left when he did. And just when you think you've seen how strangers can invade your life without warning, the third story takes it a step further, into your own home. This one begins with something familiar, almost comforting. A weekend at his parents' house, backyard ready for a small pool party. Friends arriving, music playing, laughter echoing. The perfect night. Everything appears normal. even safe. But the moment that sticks with me is earlier that day when he hears a cough from the edge of the woods behind the pool house. It's subtle, easy to ignore. But something about the timing, the tone, the way it carried through the quiet air set his instincts on alert. That tiny chill running down your spine, that feeling you are not supposed to shake off was already there. The party comes and goes, friends leave. The backyard is quiet. The night settles, and he finally climbs into bed, thinking the odd noises have vanished. But then, at 2 in the morning, the sound of a splash cuts through the silence. Not small, not accidental. Someone is swimming in the pool. Calmly, deliberately, from one end to the other. No one from the party stayed behind. He knows that immediately. He moves carefully to the window, watching. The figure climbs out of the pool, tall, wet, silent. And then he does something that makes every hair on my neck stand up. He walks toward the sliding door, toward the house itself, without hesitation, as if he already knows exactly where to go. There's no searching, no hesitation. The moment is pure terror because it strips away any sense of control. The intruder isn't chaotic, he's deliberate. And when the sliding door quietly opens, the fear is intensified by one simple fact. The door had been locked. Somehow he got in. From there, every step upstairs is agonizing. Wet footprints on wood, slow, purposeful, echoing in the silence. The handle on the bedroom door moves, testing resistance. A knock follows, 3 slow knocks. A voice, low, calm, insistent, says, "It's me. Open the door." And in that moment, you realize how vulnerable we can be in our own spaces. The safety of walls, locks, lights, they mean nothing if someone knows exactly how to bypass them. It's not just fear of what could happen. It's the knowledge that there are people out there who study, wait, and enter with purpose. And that's a horror that lingers long after the immediate danger has passed. Looking back at all 3 stories, one thing becomes painfully clear. Danger often doesn't announce itself. It hides behind the familiar. It moves quietly through the spaces we consider safe, and it finds opportunities in moments when our guard is down. From a backyard campout to a simple online transaction, and even to a house full of friends, each story reminds us how easily normal life can turn into a nightmare if someone with ill intent chooses to exploit it. The lesson here is subtle but powerful. Awareness isn't just about being afraid, it's about noticing the small details, trusting that gut instinct, and taking action before a situation spirals. Lock your doors, stay alert in unfamiliar situations, and don't dismiss that uneasy feeling, because often it's your mind sensing something before your eyes do. And beyond just physical safety, these stories push us to consider how fragile the sense of control can be, and how important it is to respect both your intuition and the boundaries of your environment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever had a moment where something felt off, even before you realized the danger? Comment down below and share your story, or let me know if there's a true horror story you'd like me to explore next. Don't forget to subscribe to Midnight Horror Files to support the channel and help me bring more chilling stories to life.